The word Welsh today is pretty narrow, but in Old English times, it seems to have been pretty broad. It seems to have basically referred to Celtic people in general. And I say that partly because I found the term Galwales in Old English, referring to the Gauls of France. So something to note is that the word Wals was originally a plural, so it refers to Welshmen. This is similar to the word Engels. So in Old English, you'll see the word Engels used to refer to plural Engel, like more than one Engel, but you don't see singular Engel, and you don't see singular whale, or at least I never have. So yeah, I don't know why English was like this and why it's still like this today. So another example is over here, Ires. So this kind of means Irishman, but I've never seen singular ire before. Today we call these guys the Welsh, but in Old English times they seem to have been the North Welsh, and then these guys over here were either the West Welsh or the Corn Welsh. The people of Strathclyde were called Strackled Welsh or something like that. Obviously they weren't pronouncing it the way I'm pronouncing it because I'm modernizing these terms. If the Old English word for picked survived, it would be pite, probably. I don't know if these guys were considered Welsh or not. I think they probably were. I'm not sure if people from Ireland were considered Welsh or not. I suppose they may have been. I don't know. Something you'll notice is that the Scots are over here in Northern Ireland. That's because that's apparently where the Scots were originally from, and then they moved into, let's say, Northern Britain and mixed with the Pites, creating the modern Scots. So then there's this term here, the Brit Welsh. So that probably would have included the North Welsh, the West Welsh, Strackled Welsh. Now I've written here Brit Wales. Now this refers to the people. I'm not saying that the island of Britain was ever called Brit Wales, the same way that Wales is called Wales. The Isle of Britain was called something like Britain. The Celtic Sea is somewhere around here. I propose that we call it the Welsh Sea. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of recap. So the island of Britain was the home of the Brits, also known as the Brit Welsh or Brit Wales. Anglo-Saxons invaded and started taking over, so eventually the Welsh got kind of split from each other, so they ended up in these groups, the Strackled Wales up here, the Nor Wales over here, and the Corn Wales or West Wales over here. At some point, the Scots invaded northern Britain and mixed with the Pites, leaving the Ires back on Ireland by themselves. Of course, we can also call these guys Irishmen, and we can call these guys Nor Welshmen and Corn Welshmen. We can also just call these guys Cornishmen. But yeah. So I don't know if the Old English would have considered, for example, the Galatians to be Welsh, even though today we would consider them to be Celts, or at least we would consider the people who gave them their name to be Celts because they were Galatians, they were Gauls of some kind. But even so, I think for English, we should use the term broadly to refer to Celts in general, and I think this is partly justified because if you look back to Proto-Germanic, or at least the reconstructed attempt at putting together Proto-Germanic, we look at the word Welsh, we look at it, or rather its ancestral form, and we find that it used to be very broad. It seems to have referred to all Celtic people and even to Italic peoples. So I think the word has the history behind it to justify it being broad and referring to all Celts, even if in English we don't necessarily know if it was that broad or not.